Welcome back, beautiful people. This is Kevin, and to my left or right, or whatever you guys see it as, I have my buddy over here, Tigo, and we are back with
Happy New
a
Year!
big, huge episode. Happy New Year, you guys. This is a huge episode, and outside of what we normally talk about, we're going to be going in to the January transfer window. And so, Tigo, how you doing today, brother? How's your New Year's? You had a good New Year's?
It
You
was awesome.
awesome.
Hello, friend. Let me start off with that. It is good to
Merry
see you
Christmas
again.
too.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all of those things. It's
All of
good to
those
be
things.
back. We're back with our massive January transfer
Yes.
window episode. We're going to talk about 5 teams and 5 players those teams should target. It's going to be a blast. This was a really fun holiday season because of my kids. They're like 2 and 1, so we were able to do a lot of really fun things. I'm excited. Any big plans, any big reveals, anything done on your Christmas that we need to talk about?
I mean, I think that was the first time that I just didn't really do much, but I feel like very good coming into the new year, and I'm ready to talk about all of these exciting news because we've got so much things going on in soccer right now, and I'm very well, one as a Barcelona fan, I gotta say, I have been suicidal at this point. You guys, like
Rightfully
it's
so.
been bad. It's been
Look,
okay.
and it
Seriously,
sucks.
I don't want to talk about that, but like it's been bad for me as a Barcelona fan.
And I
right
think the thing
now.
too is that it sucks because like this is a massive January transfer window, and
Yeah.
honestly, I would have loved to talk about how Barcelona could have made their team better and what they could do. Dude, we don't
No,
even
you
know if
wouldn't.
they're going to
No, you
register.
wouldn't.
No, I
Don't
would.
lie to
I
me.
would.
You do not want to talk about Barcelona. If Barcelona was still doing great, we would not be talking.
No,
right
I
now
wouldn't be happy
how-
about it. But I like
Right.
talking about La Liga. I like talking up about La
Yeah, me
Liga.
too.
And it
Me too,
sucks
I
that
agree.
like for example, we could talk about Atletico Madrid, but Atletico Madrid blew an absolute wad in the summer. So they're not going to spend in
But
January.
Wait. But let's talk about that very briefly. I don't want to go into too much
Of course.
Atletico Madrid, but I do want to talk briefly about their form because
Bro.
I mean,
Bro.
but you know what? You know
Bro.
what baffles me is okay. Yes,
Is that we
Atletico
keep
Madrid right
letting
now have
Diego Simeone play
Yes.
horrible football and win
he
games?
is
Should
a
be in jail.
crime to humanity. Anyway, wait, that's exactly what I was gonna say. You took the words almost right out of my mouth.
I know.
They have a great squad. The thing about Atletico Madrid is we can't really talk about them in the January transfer window because they've already dropped all of their money
Almost
on
200
the
million
players that they
euros.
need. They've dropped so much money. But you know what? It's working for them because they're able to play bad and win games
It's
because
not even
of certain players.
and it's not play bad. It's play boring. I think that's the better word.
It's not
Because I
even
think
play
they're
boring,
playing
bro. Like,
well. They're
okay,
just
look,
playing incredibly
everybody,
boring.
everybody, did you watch the PSG game?
No, I did
Atletico
not. I,
Madrid,
I
PSG.
won't sit here and lie and say I did.
Anybody who's anybody, and I've watched a lot of people talk about it. I've seen a lot of people. They've talked about it. Listen, a lot of people are saying that I didn't even watch that full game. I saw the highlights. PSG were dominating.
71%
game.
possession. 22
Not
shots.
even get the possession out of the way. Not even just the possession, dude. The chance after chance
22
after chance.
shots.
Now we go to the Barcelona game. We had chance after chance after chance. And then in the 90 some minute,
Dude, they took 5 shots and scored 2 goals. You guys shot 19 and got 1.
19, dude.
I'm telling you, it's ugly football. It's a crime to
What?
humanity. He should be in jail. I don't.
No. But like, it's got to be luck, though. Because
No, I
come
hate
on,
him too.
Part of it is luck, though. He's getting very
Yes!
lucky, dude.
No, Bro, their fans assaulted our
atrocious.
players.
It is,
They threw
bro.
things at us and they walked away with the point. You're not going to get any sympathy. I hate Atletico
My
Madrid.
hair. I think
Let's pivot. We're
I
going
think
to
I
get stuck
Pep
on here.
Guardiola that game.
Dude,
Wait,
we're gonna
hold on,
get
just
stuck.
before we move on. We're not gonna get stuck. I'm gonna just say this one thing. I felt like Pep Guardiola that game.
Just ripping
I
your hair
almost
out.
lost. I literally think I lost hair that game. I think my hair thinned out after that game.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Oh my god, bro.
Let's get since we're here and we're in the La Liga space. Let's get Real Madrid out of the way because it's my favorite team, and I would love to talk about Real Madrid.
course.
And let's get them out of the way.
We're not going to talk about Barcelona because
Of course
what are
not.
Barcelona?
They
gonna
don't.
do?
They don't
All
have
they're
money to
doing is
register their
losing
own players. Barcelona Real Madrid sit very comfortably second place, 1 point back from Atletico Madrid, and 2 points ahead of Barcelona with a game in hand. So we're in a good spot. And the team, I think, if anybody who's watching Real Madrid, I think the team is starting to find its feet. Now we're starting to play like the Real Madrid that I think everybody expected. And for those of you who have been listening to us for a while now, you'll remember that I said this. I said it would take a couple of months for this team to get their feet under them to figure out how to play with Kylian. And once they do, watch out because we're going to come out swinging, and we're starting to see that. But that doesn't mean that the team lacks the ability or that we shouldn't tinker. And so I'm going to present to you 5 players that I think Real Madrid should either go out and get or at least target to make the team better. And I want your honest opinions on those players. So I think the number 1 player, in my opinion, that Real Madrid should target, and it's not one player, so I'm going to give you 3 names because there are 3
TAA?
options. No, is a center back.
I'm surprised you're not going to say TAA.
He's on the list. We'll get there. Is a center back. And the 3 center backs that I have targeted are Victor Reyes, the 18-year-old out of Palmeiras in Brazil, Lukeba, the center back out of RB Leipzig, and Dean Huijsen, the center back out of Bournemouth. Now, the thing I like about all of these guys is their age. I really, really like that they're all young, Lukeba being the oldest of them at 23. But he is hurt, so I don't know necessarily if it makes sense purchasing a player who's going to be out until February, but he was on the list. Then you have Victor Reyes, the 18-year-old out of Palmeiras. He's doing an incredible job there, and I think one of the things that Real Madrid needs to look at is the fact that while I love him, Militao is coming off of another catastrophic knee injury. And this idea or this belief that he's going to come back at any level of strength after that, I don't think you can rely on him anymore he's going to be your starting center back. And while Alaba is coming back, he's also coming back off of a catastrophic knee injury, and he's also on the wrong side of 30. So of the guys that I mentioned, right, Lukeba, who's 22 years old, Huijsen, who's 19 years old at Bournemouth, and Reyes, who's 18-year-old at Palmeiras. What do you think? Do you have a different target in mind? What do you think about those things?
Looking at those 3 players, I would consider Lukeba to be the safest option for me. Victor Reyes, a risk. Young, doing good, but I don't know. He seems too much of a risk for me just because of the age. The other guy, I haven't really seen perform too much from Bournemouth, but I think to me, Lukeba is a great center back for you guys, and he's to me the safest option if you want to secure like a good, solid center back that's going to perform game after game.
I thought so too, and the reason I have the other 2 guys there is one because I like the idea of getting younger there at the center back position, because Lukeba's hurt.
But you have Vallejos, don't you? I mean, I know Vallejos isn't a good player, but don't you have Vallejos still?
He is technically currently employed by Real Madrid, and he is technically taking up he is for us. He is our starting left bench. Okay, he keeps the seat warm for when the guys that are playing come off, so that they don't get tight, and so that he keeps the seat warm for them. I think you're absolutely right. A guy like Victor Reyes, I love the idea of a guy like Victor Reyes, but it's hard to transition from the Brazilian league to La Liga.
The only reason I compare him to Vallejos is only because he's a Spaniard.
No.
You know
Reyes is Brazilian.
Oh, Reyes is Brazilian? Okay,
yeah.
I thought he was a Spaniard.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just another young center back, and if he doesn't perform well, too much pressure on him. It's too much. It's a risky move.
I agree.
I get you want to rejuvenate the this squad, which I'm
And but
totally
I think
for,
that that's the
because
move you kind of have to make at center back is a risky move because like I think the biggest thing is just I'm not trying to bring in a starter. I think that Chouameni and Alaba are going to be more than good enough to carry those two roles.
you think they'll be able to. When do they come back? When does Alaba come back to the squad?
He's already
You
practicing.
think? Okay, good.
So he's already back at practice.
Good.
So we're good there. And so, like I said, and my thing is I'm not expecting Alaba to play a ton
So
of minutes.
then it would be good, because I was under the impression that Alaba's still injured.
No,
That-
he came
one
back
thing
last
that-
week, so I
Right,
understand
right, right,
why.
right. He's still injured. My thing is, I don't know, but you do agree that bringing in Victor Reyes is a risk compared
I
to
love
Lu-
the idea.
Luka.
Again, I was just wearing my Brazil hoodie, and then it got really hot once I turned the lights on, so I had to take it off. But like, I love the idea of getting another Brazilian out of the Brazilian league and bring him over because we have had such success. Look at Rodrigo and
Vinny.
Neymar and not Neymar, sorry, and Vinny and
Vinny.
Militao, even though he came from Porto, but like still, like you get what I'm saying. We have a lot of success with getting Brazilian
Yes.
players, bringing them over, and making them good
Yes.
players. I think the best and probably the safest option, and we haven't talked about him much, is probably Dean Hodgson out of Bournemouth. Spanish from descent.
You think that's the safest?
I think it's the safest because he's playing at
I,
Bournemouth.
I remember you mentioning Laporte at some point.
Yeah, but the problem is the contract. To get him away from Al Nasser is going to cost too much money, and he's on the wrong side of 30. And my thing is I'm not necessarily looking for a short-term fix. I would like to bring somebody in who's going to be here long-term because my fear is that Militao, when he comes back next year, isn't going to be the same player that he was. And I would love to have a gaggle of 20-year-olds ready to come in, hungry to play. And while I love, and I mean love, Rudiger, and I would give him a lifetime contract to be on Real Madrid, let's not act like the man isn't 32 years old. And so we have to start looking for a replacement for Rudiger, not now, but in 3-4 years. And that is the point. Because I'd rather be in a situation, we were talking about this earlier, so it's a great example, with like when you guys in 2015, Puyol was starting, but you had Mascherano there. And when Puyol got hurt, Mascherano came in.
Wait, hold on. One crazy thing though. It's kind of funny. Mascherano never played center back up until then.
No, I know. He was a DM.
Just kind of a thing. He was a DM, and
It's like Chouameni.
and then Puyol got injured towards the end, and then they had to put him in there. And you know what? He did a great job. And then after that, he started playing more regular time as a center back.
Yeah, because he wasn't gonna
So-
take out Busquets. But I think the
No.
point is, in that same kind of vein, is I think it makes a lot of sense. I think tactically, long term, to start looking for these young guys that could come in, because
100% agreed.
So there's
I
that.
think, you guys do need to rejuvenate your squad. You guys need new players.
and speaking of
And-
rejuvenating the squad and bringing in new players, we've already seen a lot of rumors here, and so we know that there's going to be at least he's coming to Real Madrid. The question is he coming in January or in the summer? And that's
TAA?
Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's coming to Real Madrid. That's happening. Do you think that Real Madrid should want him, and then two, that Liverpool should entertain the idea of selling him in January so that they don't lose him for free?
So TAA is kind of in a weird situation. I gotta say one thing though, and I'm not saying this in any bias at all, but pretty sure he's a pretty big Barcelona fan, from what I'm
Yeah, in 2020
assuming.
he said that
and
he would
it
be a
doesn't
Barca
even
fan.
matter because money talks. But I think that when it comes to Liverpool, they need to make the smart choice because he's a hell of a player. They need to. If I were Liverpool, I would want to keep him. He's a great player.
Of course.
Um,
Now, when you say keep him,
Do
you mean
I
keep him
think-
till the summer and let him walk for free, or try to keep him
No,
as in
no,
like
no, no,
extend
no,
him?
no, 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 no. I would extend him.
Well, they're trying.
Why would I? No, 100%. I would extend him.
They're trying.
They need to work that out with TAA. I don't think he leaves in January. That's
agree.
which is unfortunate. I don't think he leaves in January because he's got too much to risk to leave in January. This Liverpool side is doing too well to risk it and go.
I agree.
I mean, even though Real Madrid's a great team, and you're obviously even going to Real Madrid in January, I mean, you have a huge possibility of winning trophies for sure, no
Yeah,
doubt.
the same. Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, look at this.
It's
Liverpool
not about the
side.
player; it's about the team, right?
It's about the
TAA
team
wants to
at
come
this
to Real
point,
Madrid.
you know what I mean?
It's not about him leave. It's should Liverpool, with the season they're having, sell him? And I agree with you. I don't think they should.
Now, but now, do you think Real Madrid should obtain TAA?
Absolutely.
Do you think that's a smart move?
Absolutely. I think he has a great relationship with Jude Bellingham. So I think he comes into the team, and I think he immediately ingratiates himself to the locker room. I think like we've had this discussion before. I think he's probably the best right back in the world right now, and he's only 26 years old. And for a player of that ability and skill set to become available at that age is very very rare. And for Real Madrid to do blockbuster moves in back-to-back years to get players who are at incredible ability for free would be voodoo witchcraft that only Florentino Perez can pull off. But when we take into consideration that Dani Carvajal just had a catastrophic knee injury, that he's 32, and we were talking about this with center back, you have to get younger. And Trent can come into Real Madrid and be our right back answer for the next 6 years. And a really, really good one at that. And so the way that I look at it is like when Man City went out and got Kyle Walker from Spurs. Kyle Walker at that time was on Spurs. He was the best right back in the world. City go out and get them, and they dominate the Premier League. And it's one of those types of moves where it's just like, did they need to get the best right back in the world? No. But in a modern day and age, with what TAA provides and how he can invert.
Was Kyle Walker the best? I don't think he was the best at that time. I mean, he was coming out of Tottenham.
No, he was.
He was
Dude,
fast. I don't know if he was the best
I think who was better
at that time.
at that time when he left and he went to.
When did he come in?
I don't remember that exactly. Let's not get down this rabbit hole. Let's
Right.
not get down this rabbit hole. I think he was the best. That might be, and I'll be willing to admit it. I don't think it is, but that might be my Spurs color glasses talking there. I don't think it is. But hey, let us know in the comment section. But I think that if you can go out and you can get arguably the best right back in the world on a team that already has the best player in the world in Vinny Jr. and one of the best forwards in the world in Neymar, with one of the best center mids in the world in
Did you
Jude
just say
Bellingham.
Neymar?
I did say Neymar. We've spent too much time fighting about Neymar. I meant Kylian
damn.
Mbappe. We were fighting about
Neymar
before the
this
stream.
podcast.
And so
A lot.
he's stuck in my head, and I hate it.
Anyway.
With Kylian, one of the best right wingers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're just adding another superstar at a position that you need help. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing, because Lucas Vazquez is not a right back.
Right.
He's a midfielder, and we have no idea what Danny's going to look like when he comes back. And as much as I love Danny, I'm not going to sacrifice my team because I love a player. I'm going to go find a replacement. I'm going to go find support there. And I think TAA is a great way to do that. And like you said, I don't think he comes to the team in January. I think Liverpool would be foolish to let him go, but I think it would also be foolish to lose a
I
player
think it's
for
more
free.
foolish to lose that caliber of a player for free.
I think they should have sold him in the summer.
I think personally
that's
think
because he wasn't going to resign, and that's when you would have gotten the most money. For him.
I think that by the end of the season he renews his contract.
I don't think so. I think in the next couple of weeks we hear a pre-contract with Real Madrid. Because my thing is if he was going to stay at Liverpool, why wasn't the contract done earlier?
He probably wants more money.
No, 100%. But like, here's my thing. He's a homegrown talent. He came out of their academy. See what I'm saying? It's not the Virgil van Dijk or Mohamed Salah where they're older and we need to see how they perform, and then we're going to have a conversation
The
with
thing
the new.
about players from England, and I mean they don't. I think that a lot of players from England, and maybe I'm mistaken by saying this. Maybe you might prove me wrong here, but I feel like players from England always want to leave.
No, that's
I don't.
that's
like,
historically not true.
Really?
Generally speaking, like when Cole Palmer left City, it was a big deal. He's a City Academy graduate. Like it was a big deal when he left.
No, he didn't want to leave City though.
No. But that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The players that come through the academy, if they leave, especially at this age, it's insane. Like people are already hating on Trent for not signing an extension.
When you see Trent, it's like he's a Liverpudlian to
Dude, he's
heart.
Scouse in his bones.
Yeah, and I don't understand why a player like that leaves the team that he's grown up and loves so much.
Here's the
and
thing.
It happened like.
No, go ahead.
What's going on? Because
thank you. What's going on? This is my thing, and I think he's upset with Liverpool. Is a situation of just like, if they would have offered him a contract extension in the summer of last year, we don't have to have this conversation at all. Like at all.
Mm-mm.
But they didn't do it. And I understand that they were going through the turmoil of Jurgen Klopp, but he's the best right back in the world. Regardless of that, you can give him a new contract. No manager is going to come in and look at Trent Alexander-Arnold and not want him on his team. So this idea that you're going to let a 26-year-old, and I think that rubbed him the wrong way. Because now you're in a situation where Real Madrid are knocking. And dude's best friend is at Real Madrid. And no matter what you say, no matter what you believe, there is an allure of playing in Spain for Real Madrid. The same way there is an allure of playing in Spain for Barcelona. Those are the pinnacle of sports. That's where you want to end up. That's it. Those are the holy grails. Those are the end games. And you can't, and they're the end game historically in England was Manchester United. But you can't do that if you're Trent. You can't go to United. And why would you want to go to United? So the only option is Real Madrid and Barcelona can't even afford their own players. So you're in a situation where you make that much sense. And the thing that I think is funny is that there are a lot of people yelling at him being like, why is it that Trent Alexander-Arnold would want to leave his boyhood club to go to Real Madrid? And they were asking a player that is on my list for Real Madrid, Zubamendi, to do that in the summer. They wanted him to leave his boyhood club to go to Liverpool. And I actually think that Zubamendi would be a great addition for Real Madrid. We know that Real Madrid are going to need some support in the midfield. And while I would have loved a guy like Florian Wirtz, it does seem like
I don't see Zubamendi going to Real Madrid, my guy.
There's already conversations between Sociedad
There's always conversations when it comes to Real Madrid. That's my problem.
Why wouldn't he go to Real Madrid?
It's like every player ever is like, oh, he's having conversations with Real Madrid. It's always
no. But why? You said he wouldn't go. Why wouldn't he go?
I don't think he's the one. I don't think that's the kind of player you guys need right now.
I
don't
disagree.
feel like Zubamendi is the kind of player you guys need right now. I mean, you guys have Tchouaméni, you guys have Camavinga that both play in those positions.
That's where I think we disagree.
Why?
So I don't think.
Am I wrong? Does Tchouaméni and Camavinga, don't they play those same positions?
So
it's like a DM role.
See, that's where I don't necessarily.
And it's not even
agree.
really a DM role. Zubamendi plays like a center back. Like he plays like a center back almost kind of role. I just don't see him going to a team like Real Madrid because Real Madrid plays more freely than anything, and he's more of a structured player to my.
This is where I think our points of view on Zubamendi are a little bit backwards. I do think that he is best played, like you said, in a deep-lying midfielder kind of a role, right? But the one thing that I think that Zubamendi does incredibly well, and I think that this is where I look at Zubamendi as a really good asset for a team like Real Madrid, is in that second pivot role, right? Every team and their mother is playing a 4-2-3-1. Right? So you have these two deep-lying midfielders. And so you can definitely...
Actually, they're not deep-lying. I'd say they're more of a holding midfielders.
Yeah, maybe. Whatever. Two 6/8s. That's the best way to describe him, right?
Yeah.
And Zubamendi fits that role perfectly. And
Yeah.
the thing that I think that Zubamendi provides that maybe a skill set that we're currently lacking is I think that Zubamendi is an excellent passer of the football. With the ball in his feet, he has an innate ability to find the open man and to break down the defenses with that.
Didn't you tell me? Wait, hold on. Didn't you mention that Chouameni was better than Rodri at some point?
I did. Here's the thing: we went to Real Madrid, and there's a. We'll get there. We'll get
So
to the,
that's why.
no,
That's
no,
where
we'll
I'm
get
like
to the Chouameni
confused
part.
now.
We'll get to the Chouameni part because I agree with what you're saying. We'll get to the Chouameni part. Here is
I'm not agreeing with what you're saying. I'm saying
no.
this is what
I
you
like
told
the
me a
fact
few
that you
months
brought
ago.
up Chouameni. I like the fact that you
Yeah.
brought up Chouameni, but there is. We'll get there. Don't bring up Chouameni right now. We'll talk about Chouameni a little bit later. But I think that Zubamendi provides an excellent value in terms of. I think the problem that we're running into right now is that Chouameni is more naturally fitted as a 6, in my opinion. And we don't play with a 6. We play with this hybrid 6-8. And while Chouameni is great defensively, we're seeing that with him playing center back. When he plays in the midfield, I don't know if he has the ability to find the Toni Kroos pass. That's the best way to say it. And I'm not saying that Zubamendi has that ability. Toni Kroos was a world-class passer.
Rodri has that ability.
Incorrect. But Kevin De
How is that
Bruyne
not
has
true?
that ability. We're not going to talk about Rodri. The point is that if we can find a player in the midfield who can provide at least somewhat of a similar level, because I don't think defensively Zubamendi is as good as Chouameni, but someone who provides a better passing ability than Chouameni, I think that's a move that you have to make. So that's why I have Zubamendi on the list there. Is because I think he's a better
I'm surprised
passer
you
than
had him.
Chouameni.
I didn't even know he was on the. I didn't even know there was even any rumors about him going.
Yeah,
there.
where our team is talking with his representation about activating his release clause because he has a $60 million release clause.
I thought he was more. He was more of a closer to Man City than anything.
He's
Man
according
City
to
desperate. Let's talk about this though. Man City desperately need a DM.
Here's the thing. So
They
let's talk
desperately
about
need him.
City because this is the pivot. So we can have that conversation. We'll wait for him to come back. I'll say some things. I do think that Zubamendi comes in, and the reason I think that Zubamendi comes in or has at least a good ability to come in is for a couple of reasons. But we can talk about Man City now. I had Zubamendi on Manchester City's list that I made of one of the 5 players that they should target. But apparently, Martin Zubamendi has rejected the approaches of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola and said, I do not want to go to Manchester City. Primarily because when Rodri comes back, he's going to lose his job. And he doesn't want to lose that job. He wants to be a starter, and I totally understand that. Before we talk about how Manchester City can pivot, because they've already pivoted, do you think that's a mistake from Zubamendi, turning down Manchester City? Do you think that there's any validity to that? Do you think that he fixes what City is kind of going through with needing that DM? What do you think about that from Zubamendi?
So, I think when we look at Rodri now, he's 28 years old. I think it makes good sense of what he is trying to say. I don't feel.
I agree.
I've also felt this from the beginning when we talked about Man City needing a DM. I don't see Zubamendi going to Man City.
Agreed.
I never saw him as. I just don't see him as in a City shirt. I see him in an Arsenal shirt before I see him in a City shirt, and that's just me saying. That's not me trying to want him to be at Arsenal. That's me more being like, he doesn't seem like a City player for me. And it's because Rodri's there. Rodri's 28 years old. He's going to come back. I think that for DM, their prime years are from 30 to 33, personally. And, of course, Rodri's going to come back in that time. And, yes, I agree with, what you said. I think a player like Zubamendi, wants to make a name for himself, and it's not going to be at Man City.
I agree.
Rodri.
And that's why I think it's a great move for him to deny City. because I think that there are other places where he's probably going to start more.
Right.
But Manchester
Arsenal.
City have absolutely not. If they get another midfielder, they need to go to jail. They should go into jail anyway. But we'll talk about Arsenal later.
No, they need a striker desperately.
We'll talk about them. We'll get to them. City have pivoted to a player that they were talking in the summer. Now they're going to talk about him in January. Bruno Guimaraes. And
That's crazy. I was just gonna say
it makes a ton
they
of
should
sense.
go for Bruno Guimaraes.
It
I think
makes too
that
much
City
sense.
would be it would make a lot of sense for City to go for a player like Bruno Guimaraes.
And because I think, like Zubamendi, right, he can play multiple positions there, and Zuba can play as a DM and as an 8, and I think Bruno can do both of those things as well. But I think that Bruno seems like the type of player, because let's not act like Newcastle is a great destination to be at right now, right, in the Prem. I know that they're 5th and City are 6th or whatever, but Newcastle seem to be in a situation where they might need to sell to accommodate PSR and certain things like that. And Bruno seems like the perfect player to sell to accommodate, PSR. And he could come in.
You think Zubamendi goes to a team like Liverpool?
We'll get to Liverpool.
now?
Let's not jump around. We'll stick with City. We'll go to Liverpool next.
Okay.
But Bruno, I think, is a really good fit. Now, here's the question. Bruno's reported market value is in and around the market of 80 to 90 million euros.
Mm-hmm.
One, do you see that value being correct? And do you think that City, one, should pay that, and two, would pay that for Bruno?
Well, whether I think they should or would is two different things.
That's why I asked both
Because-
questions.
Yeah. What was the amount? 80?
80 to 90.
Whether I think that they should.
Think they
Only
should.
because 80 to 90 is high though. I'm not gonna lie. That's a pretty
I
high
agree.
bargain.
And
But
I think that there are other
they
fixes.
the thing is here, okay, you know what? They shouldn't, and here's why.
Okay.
City's not winning anything this season. Forget about it. Forget about it. City are not going to win anything this season. I don't see that happening with the form that they're in, and I don't think that bringing a player right now is going to change that. I think they
Interesting.
need to see where they're at the end of the season. They're not going to win anything, but at least see how they're performing towards the end of the season. Just don't see City. They would be risking too much buying a player right now. I think they just kind of need to stick it out with what they have. Try to do their best. It seems like they finally won a game. Hopefully start doing a little bit better. Start biting the bullet. Make the right moves in the summer. Forget about the season. Discard the season. There's no way you're winning the season. No
think
way.
I'm almost there with you. I think that going for a guy like Bruno right now is the wrong idea because of the price tag at 90 million. But I think that they should do a flurry of moves. I think that squad needs help. And I'm going to throw three names at you.
You think okay, wait. Let me ask you this question before we go on.
Go ahead.
Quick question. Do you think they really need to buy anybody right now? Because
Yes.
I don't believe. Do you really? Okay, let me ask you this then. Do you think Man City have any chance of winning anything?
That's not the point. Let me say my bit. Just because you're not going to win anything this season doesn't mean that you can't tinker with the squad, especially if you can have half a season with new players getting comfortable in your system and on your team. City can still fall out of the Champions League spots. City, right now, are not in European football. That matters. They're not going to win the Prem. We know that. But falling outside of European football is might be even worse. So the season's not dead. They need to figure something out. And while I agree with you that, going for a guy like Bruno with a 90 million euro price tag might not be the best option, I think that there are 3 signings, and I saved them for last because I want to get your opinion on them. I think that they should go out and they should buy 3 players, and they could purchase all of these 3 players. These are very, very important players. 3 players that would all come in and around about 110 million euros, which is almost a little bit more than the Julian Alvarez money, and I think massively, massively improves this team. And here are the guys that I think that they should go out and target. Number 1, we've already seen these links, but it is left back Anthony Robinson, the American at Fulham. The market value has him at about 30 million euros, and he's arguably probably one of the best left backs in the Premier League. If you can get him and bring him in, I think that you can elevate your defense massively. Why? Because right now you have Rico Lewis playing as like a left back and as a right back and as a different, and you have like Gavordio playing out there. And I think that Gavordio is probably best suited, in my opinion, to playing as a center back. I think that's the plan for him for the future of that team, especially when you take into the fact that like Ake's hurt and Jones is hurt and old, and Akanji has just not been super consistent this year, but also 29 and also hurt. So I think you can move Gavordio inside, you can put Anthony Robinson on the left back spot, and now you've added a bunch of attacking options and widths on the left side. So you do that move, number 1. Number 2, you try to take advantage of a team that is cash-strapped that might need to sell players. Sorry, but I think that you have a conversation. You at least call Barcelona about Jules Koundé. Kyle Walker's not getting any younger, and Barcelona needs to find ways to get money. And we've already seen rumors and reports that Koundé and Flick have butted heads. If that's the case, and the market value for Koundé is 50 million euros, that's another move that you can make.
That'd be a great logic. It's a great logic.
There's one more player.
Okay, one more.
And then
player.
the other one is I think you need to find someone who can play behind Julian Alvarez to replace Julian Alvarez that can, like Julian Alvarez, play all across that front 3. And I think a great person, and he's already been linked to Manchester City, is Omar Marmoush, the Egyptian striker from Eintracht Frankfurt. You can get him for 40 million euros. And so now you've found your Julian Alvarez replacement, kind of, in a player that can help play games for Haaland when he's not playing, can play at the left wing, can play at the right wing. He can play everywhere. You've supported your fullbacks and then, in theory, strengthened your center backs and, in theory, strengthened your midfield because now Rico Lewis can play primarily as a midfielder. And now you can get back to a structure that I think Man City would be more comfortable in, which would be a 4-2-3-1 instead of a 3-2-4-1, which is what they're currently playing. Mm-hmm. That's my bit. Those are my players. I'm sorry. Go on.
If we lived in an ideal world, yeah, those are pretty. You thought that out pretty well because those are literally key areas in which they need to improve. They need to improve in those key areas. Jules Koundé, I don't see as a possibility, even though you were right. He is butting heads with Flick, and it would be nice. He's our only right back.
That's the issue.
He's the only right back. Like, Araujo can play right back, but like,
do you want him there?
No, absolutely not. The only way I would want Araujo as a right back is if he's man marking Vinny. That's the only way I want Araujo as a right back. And even then, that's
Are you sure?
No, he's done pretty well marking Vinny in the past. He's done. He actually, I think that he's Vinny's kryptonite because every time he's guarded Vinny, he's done. If you look at the battles that he's had with Araujo, Vinny has a hard time with Araujo, especially when Araujo's man marking him. Anyways, that's beside the point.
You don't think Hector Fort can play there, like just full time?
Hector Fort's actually a left back.
No, but he can play on the right.
I don't.
Because he's right-footed, right? You want a right-footed right back.
Look, let me tell you this. Jules Koundé has shown up late to practice 3 times, I think now. Hansi Flick hates that. Like, he cannot stand that. he missed. I don't even. He's done
Whatever.
a whole lot. Hansi Flick is pissed.
Yep.
He's over this guy. Doesn't like him.
I agree. That's why I brought him up.
He still will not play Hector Fort over him in that position.
No. Again, I only brought him up not because because I do want Barcelona to get weaker, of course.
But
I'm just saying,
Hector Fort.
dude,
Don't get
where
me
there's
wrong.
smoke, there's fire. They're butting heads. Maybe.
I don't see. I don't see it.
I don't think it'll
because
happen.
I don't think.
I see
and
it. I don't think it'll happen.
Even then, if let's say we got rid of Koundé, Hector Fort is your only option at right back now. Your only option. If he gets injured, what happens? Who's there? Nobody.
Well,
That's the problem. We have to pull another 17, 16-year-old.
But you just said
Another
Araujo can
one?
play there.
But Araujo can only play there if he's marking Vinny.
I don't
And
think
that's not the
true.
way that with Hansi Flick's system, that's not the way that's gonna go down, man. We need
I don't
someone
think
that.
that's true.
The thing is, Jules Koundé comes into attack for us, and he does it very well. And I don't see Araujo's not gonna go. He's not gonna be able to do that. Araujo plays as a right back if he's staying back there.
So but
He's staying back there.
But I agree with you. But I'm not trying to convince you that
There's
this
no
is a
options.
good idea.
There's no real options.
I think there are options. I think Pau Cubarsí can play there.
Pau Cubarsí has never played right back.
Neither did Asensio before Real Madrid got hurt all throughout their lives. I'm not saying that he should. I'm saying he can. He's right-footed. He can play at the right back spot. Hector's right-footed. He can play there.
I get that there's there's
Araujo-
options.
I'm just
but
saying.
not
the reason I brought it up
listen,
was because that's
if
what City needs.
let's suppose we play Pau Cubarsí right back. He's not coming up, dude.
Why not?
He's staying back there.
Why not?
Pau Cubarsí, it doesn't have the dribbling skills to play up front like that. Like
Says
Jules
who?
Koundé
We
does.
haven't seen him in that role.
I've seen the way he touches the ball. He's the kind of guy that one touch pass, but he doesn't
As
attack.
a
I've
center
never,
back.
bro. You're not gonna see a Kubarsi go up and attack. He's not that kind of player. He's just not that kind of player.
Again,
if
regardless of
if
that,
he
we're
was that
talking
kind
about
of player,
Barcelona
you
and we
would see it.
shouldn't. This is a city topic. I
Right.
brought up Koundé because where there's smoke, there's fire, generally speaking, and you might be able to pull them away. And again, we'll pivot away from Manchester City. I think the biggest thing is a lot of people are talking about, the midfield, the forward group. And I honestly think that the biggest area that Manchester City need to fix is actually defensively. If they can fix their back four, I think everything else gets better because I think Rico Lewis is better suited as a center defensive mid for Manchester City, and you can free him up to play that role more freely if you get a left back and a right back. And Koundé and Robinson are two players that, one, we know is available in Robinson, but Koundé might be a guy who is a very high-level player who you might be able to pull away from Barcelona because we know how cash-strapped they are. Pivoting to Liverpool, because you brought them up and you brought him up earlier, and this is the last time we're going to talk about him because he's not on the list for any of the other guys. Zubimendi to Liverpool. I think that Liverpool do need to strengthen that midfield unit. There is some concern.
If somehow, wait, let me put in my 2 cents here.
Go ahead.
If somehow Liverpool gets Zubimendi, they're winning it all.
I have 3 players that I think that they can target.
They are
in the
if
midfield.
if they buy any of those players. I don't know which players you have. If they buy another good player,
One's going to surprise you.
they're winning it all.
One of them's going to
They're
surprise
not losing.
you. One of
They're
them's gonna
already
surprise
not
you.
losing. If they buy somebody else now, I'm going to go on a whim and say, and especially Zubimendi, I'm going to go on a whim and say they're winning everything.
I agree. I think every trophy is theirs to lose right now.
100%.
And I think they need to strengthen the midfield because I will give you a crisp high five and a fist bump if you can tell me a single midfielder on Liverpool's bench that isn't named, and because these are the starters, that isn't Alexis McAllister, Gravenberch, or Soboslai. Can you name any of them?
No.
And that's, I think, an issue because the only other guys that are listed as midfielders for them are Wataru Endo, Curtis Jones, Tyler Morton, and Harvey Elliott. That is not a midfield group that's going to win you anything.
No.
And so I think that they should they were in on Zubamendi in the summer. Now that Zubamendi's ready to leave Sociedad, they should be all in on him. But remember back when you brought up, when we were talking about Real Madrid and you brought up Tchouaméni?
Yeah.
This is why I told you to hold off. Do you remember who the other team was in on Tchouaméni before he went to Real Madrid? It was Liverpool.
Liverpool?
It was Liverpool. It was Liverpool and Real Madrid fighting for Tchouaméni's signature. Now, I'm not saying that they should, but if they come to the conclusion that there is no other way, that there is no way for them to keep Trent Alexander-Arnold on Liverpool, and they're not going to lose him for free, and for some reason Real Madrid, they can't, and Liverpool can't get Zubamendi, there is a world in which I believe that Real Madrid would swap TAA for Tchouaméni plus some money.
Yeah,
and that is a move.
That'd be a big mistake for Liverpool, dude.
Look, I'm saying
sorry,
that's only if they don't want to
I-
lose TAA
No,
for
no, no.
free.
I get it. I just feel like, to me personally, like I get your logic behind it. Big mistake for Liverpool if that happens. I think they lose TAA and they risk their season.
I don't think they risk their season.
I think they risk their season. TAA is very essential for them at the moment. TAA, we need to remember that TAA is in stellar form at the moment.
Yeah. I'm
I
not going to argue that.
I don't think I've ever seen TAA be as good as he's playing, or play as good as he's playing now. He's playing really good football. I think Liverpool lose him and they lose a very essential part of their team. Not to say they're not going to continue doing well, because
And again, that doesn't
I
mean
think-
they can't go out and get another right back. It's just not going to be as good as
but at
TAA.
the caliber,
I know, I
as good
agree.
as TAA.
No, I agree.
I mean, no, but I get your logic. I mean,
My whole
if they
point
did a
is
swap,
if they make the decision that
I don't think
they
that'd be
don't
worth
want to
it.
lose
I don't think
TAA
that'd be
for
worth
free.
it for Liverpool. I don't think that'd be worth it for Liverpool. That'd be worth it for Madrid, not for Liverpool. I don't.
Again,
rate
they wanted Tchouaméni
To me-
before.
To me, I don't rate Tchouaméni as high as I do TAA right now.
Do you think Tchouaméni starts over one of the guys in the midfield for Liverpool?
Right now, no.
I think he does.
I don't.
I think he starts over
I
probably.
think Tchouaméni.
I think he starts over
I don't know
Gravenberch.
what. I think No, I don't. I don't believe so. I don't believe he starts over Gravenberch or Alexis McAllister.
I
I think
he-
if
I
he,
think
he
he would
would, I
start-
think he starts over Alexis McAllister before he starts over.
I think
Gravenberch.
McAllister probably pushes up into the 10 and starts over Soboslai.
Here's why. I'm gonna tell you, and it's not because I think that Gravenberch's better than Tchouaméni, because I don't. I think Gravenberch is a very big part, and him being Dutch helps. I think Slot's system, because
I don't
he
think
has him. If you see, Gravenberch is his
He's his pivot.
Busquets in a
It's
way.
his pivot.
It's like it's his guy that's like kind of leading that, and I don't think he's gonna change that for Tchouaméni,
No.
even if you got him.
Even
Even if you got him,
I
don't-
we
I don't
talked.
see
I
that
was
happening.
praising Gravenberch earlier before the podcast.
Right.
I'm not trying to say anything.
I know.
I just think Tchouaméni goes in there and he probably starts.
Not
they were
again, not
interested in
because
him.
I feel like Gravenberch is better than Tchouaméni. I just feel like Gravenberch
He fits that role. He's
works
been doing it.
works for Slot better than Tchouaméni would.
No, I think that makes sense. The other player. Now this is one that doesn't make sense for Real Madrid, but maybe there's a world in where something like this might happen, which is I don't think Liverpool are going to extend Mohamed Salah. And if you're not going to extend Mohamed Salah, you're going to need to get a right winger. And Real Madrid have a guy who plays on the right wing right now, who's very, 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 very good, who might want to leave. And so again, if you're Liverpool, this one I think makes a little bit more sense, would be, do you say, okay, you want TAA? Cool. We want Rodrigo. Again, In the summer when Kylian came, there was a lot of connections between Real Madrid maybe selling Rodrigo, and that a team that would be incredibly interested would be Liverpool. I don't want to see Rodrigo go, so I don't necessarily like this deal.
I think Rodrigo would be a great Liverpool player.
I agree. I think he'd be
I really
phenomenal
feel
for
like, I
them.
feel like he would replace Mo Salah as like the guy
I agree.
that does it there.
I don't want him to go because I love
Here-
Rodrigo.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing about Rodrigo, man. I've always told you this about him. He deserves better than you guys.
He deserves more attention. I don't think he deserves
He
better
deserves
than us.
better than no. Madrid is a great club. Maybe not better.
I think
Maybe
he
you're
deserves.
right. Maybe not better.
He should be
but
He should have his own team.
Yeah. Yes. And
He's
not gonna
good
have that
enough to
Madrid.
have his own team, but
Yes.
he's always going to be second fiddle. It's like Neymar
Mhm.
on Barcelona. You're always going to be second fiddle to Messi. Doesn't matter how good you are. Rodrigo's always going to be second fiddle to Vinny. Everybody is. And I agree with you. I think that if he goes to Liverpool, I think he's probably their best player. Outside of Mohamed Salah this year, because Mohamed Salah is probably the best player in the world right now, if we're being honest. He's absolutely
He's playing like such.
out of this world. Lights out.
If Mo Salah, if Liverpool win it all,
Ballon d'Or.
he's gonna win. He's gonna win the Ballon d'Or.
Easily.
Agreed.
Again, I don't necessarily love that for Real Madrid, but there is that. Now, I put this name on there. This is the last one before we move on, and this will be a perfect pivot into our next team. I think Liverpool have a little bit of an identity crisis at the striker position. Let me be very clear. Luis Diaz is doing phenomenal as their striker. Phenomenal. 8 goals, 2 assists. He's doing great.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to call the Darwin Núñez experience what it is, a failure. It's time to sell him. And while I love Jota as a human, I don't think that he's all that good as a striker. And I think that Luis Diaz is better suited to playing on the left wing.
Mhm.
And you know who might be available in the January transfer window and is one of the most exciting strikers in the world? Who just lost his manager and might be looking for a better challenge or a bigger challenge? A name we're going to talk about a lot towards the back end of this podcast. How crazy would it be if Liverpool went all in to go get Victor Gyökeres?
I don't know. I think Victor Gyökeres to me is like Man United bound.
We'll get to United.
I don't know why. I don't know why to me.
Well, of
he
course, we
seems
know
more
why. I'm a
Man
Reams
United
there.
bound. Right.
But
That's
again,
exactly it.
United's not doing well. Does Victor Gyökeres really want to go to a project, even if that does mean reuniting with his old manager? I'm not saying that he doesn't. I'm just saying Liverpool's going to win the Prem this year. Liverpool might win the Champions League this year.
Yeah.
That's a really attractive package. Do you think it makes sense for him for Liverpool to even consider going after Victor Gyökeres? Or is it like, nah, you've got Luis Diaz, you've got Jota, you can sell Núñez and be fine, pivot somewhere else?
Yeah.
Think it's that one?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. Victor Gyökeres, he just seems. It seems almost written in the stars he'll go to Man United.
I agree. That's why
It
he's
would
on the
have to-
top
it
of the
would- it
list
would-
for United.
Man United would literally have to fumble the bag
But
to lose that guy.
let's be honest here. They're going to. It's Manchester United. Manchester United have so many other issues outside of striker that need to get fixed. This is where I think the issue is. I think that the issue is that Gyökeres is probably going to get sold. Might not get sold in January, but for sure is getting sold in the summer. For sure. And I think a team can pry him away. But I think that the problem is that if you're Manchester United, striker is not the primary position that needs to get fixed. The primary position that needs to get fixed in that team is your midfield and your wing backs. And so, do you think it makes sense for United? We'll pivot to United and then we'll end with your favorite club, Arsenal. Do you think it makes sense for Manchester United to prioritize going out and getting Victor Gyökeres instead of maybe addressing some of the other areas on the team? Do you think that he is such a force positive for United that even if you can't go out and spend, let's say, all of
I
this
think Man
extra
United.
money.
I think Man United have a lot of work to do,
I agree.
in my opinion. But I think that every team, if you look at the best teams, it starts with the striker. To me, I think that for my mentality, if you want a good team, solid team, you have to. I've always, and this is very Johan Cruyff mentality, is your defender, your striker's your first defender. To me, so if you can have a great striker that's going to put in the work, and you can have a couple solid midfielders,
That's, I think, the issue.
the rest, yeah, the midfielders, right?
I think the issue is I agree with all
you
of what
can't,
you're saying.
but you can't have two good midfielders and not a good striker. You know what I mean?
But that's
Like
my
it has
thing.
to go. It goes hand in hand because when you play down the middle, when you look at the central part of a football match or a football field, a lot of most of the action happens down the middle. Then you have the side action. And if you have two solid defenders or two solid midfielders and a solid striker up top that's going to run you those balls and that's going to score those goals, I think you're better off than you know what I mean? You know what
I
I'm
get
saying?
what you're
Like,
saying. I
it's-
just
it's-
I think they have a good enough striker on Manchester United right now. I think Højlund is more than good enough to play in that system. I think the
wanna say that,
problem
but he
is
hasn't
that
proved me.
here's the thing.
He hasn't proved anything to me.
I get that. They can't get the ball to him. I at least I did. I watched Amorim in Portugal when all of this stuff was happening, and Victor Gyökeres was a part of the play, but much higher up the field than where Højlund is right now. And that's because the midfielders in Sporting were able to get the ball, and the wingbacks were able to get the ball to him, get him involved in the play. And I think that Højlund has a lot of the same skill sets that Victor Gyökeres has. I think Victor Gyökeres is the better player. Let me be very clear here. But I think Højlund provides all of those things. And I think that if you look at their problems, they're not getting the ball to the top of the field at all. They can't hold it in possession.
Højlund to me was a very Eric Ten Hag player.
No, but I think he fits. He can fit in that system, and that's why I think that instead of going for Victor Gyökeres in January, I think that there are 4 players. I'm gonna list them in the positions that I think that they should go after them. Because I think that the thing that you need to prioritize is your wingbacks. You need to get wingbacks. Because right now, the only players that you have that can play the wingbacks is Dalot. Diego Dalot is playing incredible for Manchester United. But he is traditionally a right wing back, and he's playing on the left side because they don't have anybody that can play on the right side, because they don't have anyone that can play on the left side. So if you're Manchester United, I think that there are 2 players that you should target. There is the reasonable, makes sense, maybe you can go get them, maybe you can go get him, maybe Miran. And then there is the this knocks it out of the park kind of a signing. The first one is Federico Di Marco out of Inter Milan. Very, very important for Inter Milan.
I love that guy, dude.
I
And you know
love
what? Wait,
DiMarco.
hold on. Let me tell you why. Because I still haven't watched like Serie A like religiously. I've only watched a few games since we've talked about it. I do want to start watching it more. I like the games that I watched. You know why I like him so much, man? He on FIFA, on EAFC, bro. This man is a monster.
Yeah.
Nobody gets past him, dude. I literally will use him, and nobody will get past me with. And I'm just using his regular like gold card. Nobody gets past me with him, dude. Nobody.
And here's the thing. This is why DiMarco is such a good pickup for them. DiMarco already plays in a 3-back formation with Inter. Inter is one of the only other teams that plays with a 3-back. So he would come into that wing-back role already knowing how to play it. You wouldn't have to teach a left-back to be a wing-back. It would be such a natural fit. And Inter Milan might be willing to part ways with him for a good chunk of change. Now, we brought up DiMarco. You know who else might become available that I think would absolutely blow this out of the park? Alphonso Davies. If they can go and get Alphonso Davies, who is out of contract with Bayern Munich at the end of the year. That would be a home run signing for Manchester United. Because I think he fixes all of their issues. I think if you put him at left wing back, Dalot now goes to right wing back, and guess what? Now you've got your wing backs. Now you've got the width that you need for that team. And while you don't have a second 10, another position that they need to address, but I think they should address in the summer, you now have a back five that can support your front five. Because if you start your team with what I believe their best starting lineup would be, which is, their back three center backs, whichever way we want to do, Davies and Dalot, Ugarte and Mainu, with Ahmad, insert whoever you want as the other number 10, and Højlund up top, I think the team starts performing better. Instantly starts performing better. Because now you've got your wing backs. Because Dalot has been playing as probably the second best player under Amorim behind Ahmad. Yeah. And I think Davies would have a ton of success there too.
All right, well, moving on. I think I agree. I think that
the last two players, I think the last player would be Jeremiah Frimpong if you want to go with a right wing back. Another player who traditionally plays already in a 3-4-3 with Xabi Alonso in Germany. Yeah. So I think it makes a ton of sense there as well.
I've always liked him a lot.
And he speaks perfect English, so you got no concern there.
What do you think about Arsenal? They need a striker. We all know that.
I literally only have forwards. Arsenal need a number 9.
One guy.
They need a number 9.
Give me your options because I want to hear
it. And they need a number 9 desperately. And who's the most popular?
No, desperately.
Desperately. And who's the most popular number 9 in the world right now to talk about? We just talked about
Gyökeres.
Victor Gyökeres. Bro.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to go with that. I don't think that's
there have been already conversations.
What an ideal world. Yes.
And he's not going to cost. It's not going to be so expensive that they can't afford him. You can get Gyökeres for what?
Yeah, but 60? I really feel like Victor Gyökeres is just waiting for Man United.
Look, I understand, but we talked about this before. Money talks.
Yeah. All right. Well, but Victor Gyökeres, who else?
Okay. Now we get into the super realistic guys. I want to talk about one guy specifically because we know he is absolutely available. He is no longer practicing with his team. And the reason I like this player so much is because he can play across the front three. And that is Randal Kolo Muani out of PSG. We know that he's not going to be a part of the PSG program. He's not practicing with the team. And his market value right now, according to FootMob, is listed at 30 million euros. For 30 million euros to get a player who is 26 years old and can play at a high level and is naturally a striker, but can also fill in the left wing and the right wing roles, which is something that they also need, that makes a ton of sense in my eyes. Do you see a world in which they should target Kolo Muani? Do you think that is a good enough player to fix their issues at number 9? Or do you think they need to swing bigger?
I don't know if he's good enough to fix their issues at number 9, but they need someone who's scoring goals for them, and they don't have that right now. And Kolo Muani is a great player. I don't know. I like him, but I don't know if he's the one to fix their problems. He's too young. He's very... I don't know if that's the guy, but either way, they need somebody, and who better than someone who's young and has talent?
Has talent.
He does.
Over 6 foot, so he provides help in their set pieces.
Yeah, I think that he'd be a great player.
Because we know little baby 100 and little 5'10", 5'9" Gabriel Jesus isn't going to add anything.
Oh no.
Now we pivot a little bit.
Okay.
To Italy.
Give me somebody else.
They have been linked to him. Now this is a big swing. Who is this? Dusan Vlahovic out of Juventus. Dude, when you're talking about a legit out and out number 9, it's very hard to find a better player right now in the world as a true, just straight up out and out number 9 than Vlahovic. At 24 years old, He's young, and Juventus are in kind of a revival trying to figure out who they are under Thiago Motta. I'm saying he's listed at about 70 million euros, so it would cost you a pretty penny if you're Arsenal to go get him, but I think he helps fix a lot of problems for them. A lot of problems. And I think, and I'll pivot this to another player as well, I think they need more than one striker. I think that they should get Vlahovic and then also stay in that forward group and also go get Liam Delap out of Ipswich Town because you can get him for 20 million euros. And in 90 million euros, you now got two strikers, legitimately good strikers, who are both really young and can be a part of this team for a long time. They need the depth. If Arsenal believes that they're a Premier League winning team, which I don't think that they are, and that they can win a Champions League, which they can't, these are the types of moves that you need to do. You can't sit here and rely on Gabriel Jesus and a midfielder playing as a striker in Kai Havertz. You need a true out-and-out number 9, and I think that I have targeted two really good ones in Vlahovic and Liam Delap. What do you think?
I think they're good options. They're good options and they're cheap options because Liverpool's not going to go like all out on a striker. That's why I'm like, I don't know if Victor Gyökeres would be the one for him because I feel like they're going to end up spending a lot of money trying to get him. But
Gyökeres would be cheaper than Vlahovic.
I think they need. Yeah, but I think because there's so much hype around him, I don't know if Sporting will let him go for an easy.
Doesn't he have a release
transfer.
clause?
Does he?
I don't know. Maybe. You might be right. I'm not going to sit here and argue that. And then rounding it out with with Arsenal, I think they should also probably target Nico Williams. We've seen that those connections in the past. And Nico Williams, really, really good player. Really, really good Spanish player. And there is this look, you need a left winger. As much as I love Martinelli because he's Brazilian, I don't think he's good enough to be your starting left winger there. Trossard's on the wrong side of 30. The Sterling loan has failed immensely. He hasn't performed and he's not doing well. So you definitely need a solution there. And I think that Nico Williams partnered with Saka, and then let's say because you can't spend a ton of money because Nico Williams would cost you about 70 million euros because that's his new release clause. You then go out and get Ian Delap. Now you're looking at a 21-year-old striker, a 22-year-old left winger in Nico Williams. And how old is Saka? 22, 23? Do you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think that does a really, really good job of helping out that team. And, like, Saka's hurt, and he's going to be out for a long time because there's no support. Saka's 23. And I think it just makes a ton of sense. I think that if they were to get Nico Williams, Liam Delap, and Kolo Muani, you fix your team. Honestly. Because now you've got support.
I think that's what Arsenal just need. They just need they need anybody who can
play striker.
Who's
a real striker.
Yeah, who's a real striker.
Because that's what they're missing, man. Any other blockbuster move from any other team that you're thinking of? Like this team should go get this player that we haven't mentioned?
I think we went through everybody, man. Man City, Man United, all the main teams, Liverpool. Man, in an ideal world, they get these players, and who knows what happens. But man, I don't know. It's crazy. I hope something happens in this transfer market that pivots one side or the other.
There's so many teams that don't end up doing anything, and they absolutely could, and it absolutely blows my mind. Really quick, the only thing that I'll say, and then we'll end it here, because we've been going for a while now, is I think Spurs should go get a goalkeeper because Fraser Foster is horrible, and I want my team to get another goalkeeper because we're sitting at 11th, and that makes me sad.
Can't believe it. I never thought
so many injuries.
Liverpool would be sitting at that area.
There's just so many injuries and inconsistencies, and our entire defense is hurt. And Vicario, once we lost Vicario, the season was over, in my opinion, especially because we didn't have anyone in the backup there. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us during our massive, massive January transfer window episode. We had a blast going over all of these players. I wish we got to talk about some other things. Let us know what team you think should go and make moves in January. What are the blockbuster moves that are going to happen? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for hanging out with me and my good friend Kevin. Guys, Happy New Year. It was nice and fun seeing you. We're so excited for a great year of Tactical Foul podcast and content. So make sure to hit the subscribe button on the way out. My name is Tigo. That is my good friend Kevin. Thank you for hanging out with us. Get on out of here.